Hi, welcome back to Shay's Creations. Today I'm going to be continuing my random dye mix series with a different fold, the Shibori pattern. Again, these dyes are cut with salt to make them easier to measure and mix. The recipe might be a little confusing to replicate, so I've converted the recipe to parts this time, which will be a bit more reliable for you than trying to mix these using the recipes I did. Now, this is a brand new fold for me and this is my first time trying it. If you need a more in-depth video on how I did this fold, leave it in the comments. I think you can kind of tell, but it's a basic Shibori fold, but the difference is that it's going to be a lot larger than what you would call a typical Shibori fold. If you've ever folded a flag before, it's kind of a similar process. It's just instead of wrapping the triangle in itself, it's going to be folding back and forth on the outside. The key with getting this to be cooperative is to make sure that your shirt is really wet so that it'll stick to itself. There are still some complications, of course, but I think for the most part, just making sure that it's really wet will help you keep it all together so it's not falling apart. And I think this fold would pretty much be impossible to do while dry. You really want to take your time with this because otherwise it could end up being really asymmetrical. If I could redo this, I probably would have started at the top of the shirt first, but I happened to get lucky here to where the top of the shirt lined up. I've been using mesh to hold all of the pieces together while I'm dyeing them. It's a little bit easier than a rubber band alone in my opinion. It just helps keep all the little bits tucked in. So I'm doing this as like a dye, what I guess you would consider typically a dye over ice, but I do put another layer of ice at the top of it. I would recommend doing dye over ice for this method just so that you can get some really stark splits and just to avoid speckling. You're gonna see on the final product there was a little bit of speckling in between the lines and I don't really like how that looked. I just did a quick rinse out with some detergent so I could get a peek at what the final product would look like. It's gonna be a lot darker here than it is in the final product since the shirt is still wet, but let me know what you think in the comments. I'm definitely going to try this fold again. I'm curious to see how it'll look with a smaller Shibori, so I'll probably be trying that one in the future. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't. I'm going to be making a lot more of this random series. I'm really happy with this one. All of these, if you're watching this before July 20th, these are all going to be available on my Etsy shop on Sunday, July 20th. Thanks for watching and please subscribe.